What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the Brown Gent. Today is quite a bit longer video, and I'm not really talking about one project in particular, but I think it's very important that we discuss sort of the approach that you should consider as you are in this sort of, I like to say, start of the bull market where we have a ton of potential. And time again, it's come up that maybe there's just not enough money that people have, so they're unable to participate. Well, in today's video, I want to talk to you about how you can make it in crypto, you know, and let's go through it. And remember, there's going to be a lot of information. So please, after the stream is over, watch it again. Watch it again until you sort of understand sort of all the concepts talked about. And I think that's the way to do it. Don't forget, I'm not a financial advisor. Do your own research, etc. Always, we have a private group called the Web3 Society. If you want to join that, you can check that out in the YouTube membership down below. And with that, let's get started. So if we go back to basics and forget about everything else in this space, the crypto market is one, let's just compare this to gold for a second. People typically would just buy and hold, if prices are down. The smarter people, for the most part, the ones who are able to control their emotions, continue to add to their allocation. So typically what happens, and this happens a lot in bear markets, there isn't really that much going on in terms of community building, in terms of Testnets, or at least it's not as popular. And at that time, people are more focused on capital acquisition and making sure they add to their either Bitcoin, Ethereum, or other altcoins, etc. So that's the sort of basic fundamental bedrock. And just by doing this, you will earn significant amounts if these tokens do well. And they are slated to do very well. In fact, Bitcoin was $18,500 about a year ago, and now it's sitting at like 42,800. It was at 48,000 recently, in fact. And same thing with Ethereum. Ethereum went down to 1,200. It's 2,300. These are monumental returns, and we are not even close to getting to all-time highs on any of these things. And in fact, if you've heard of sort of everything else going on, we are getting close to the bull market where every 4 years you see sort of a huge accumulation in volume coming into a ton of these tokens, typically going from Bitcoin, then to Ethereum, and then to the alts. And every leg down, there's a magnitude of exponential sort of increase in token size, because $100 billion may not make that big of a difference in Bitcoin. It may go up like, that's like 1/8 of its value. But for something like Solana, that's double its value already just by itself. So that's why these things sort of accumulate. Now, even while all this is going on, there's an additional layer that makes all of this really complicated, right? So just so you guys know, I'm going to do a lot of sort of monologuing here and talking. At the end, we'll go through the Q&A. I promise you this time for this video, we will. I'll explain what happened earlier. So one of the things that we've done to sort of circumvent and sort of help grow our bags is through crypto airdrops. I'm not going to go through like all the sort of rationale behind it, but the reality is airdrops are a fantastic way to bring a lot of eyeballs to various platforms. It's a way to almost secure investments if you sort of dangle the carrot. And at the same time, people are hyper competitive. And at times, this allows people to accumulate a bag of something that they likely wouldn't have been able to do. I think of projects like Arbitrum, Jito, even Sui. Sui gave you $2,000 for just joining their Discord, for clicking a button. You know what I'm saying? So like those days, I'm not saying they're over, but they're getting harder and harder to find. And also, people have realized how lucrative airdrops are. So from a community side, you have people using either AI, they use bots now. They have wallet farms of hundreds and hundreds of wallets to almost dilute your share. And, I'm not going to say that's the right thing to do. It sucks, but that's just the reality of it, right? I'm not here to talk about sort of judge other people. I'm not here to say, hey, the system sucks or not. The reality is what it is. We've got to deal with it, and we're going to talk about how you can capitalize still. This is literally the only thing that we should be talking about. We're not going to make ourselves victims. We're going to make ourselves succeed despite our circumstances. Okay? So all these crypto airdrops are happening, like things are happening on both sides. Protocols are taking advantage of people saying, hey, we're going to do an airdrop, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And then they sort of kind of sidestep it. Like, I'll be honest with you, Black Panther is one example where they still are not very clear and from what it sounds like. They are trying to do like a bookended airdrop where you need to hold your tokens for even longer. Otherwise, you get half your allocation that you're supposed to. Just weird stuff like that. And like I said, people are super farming, and that makes it hard for the little guy. Because I've seen tons of comments from people saying, oh my God, what's the point of crypto airdrop farming if I can't even make any money? Like, this is not fair. This is not worth it, blah, blah, blah. I'll just be honest with you. People say that, and then there's like one or two that like really hit big, and then you miss out. So yes, I understand that it can be annoying at times, but we've got to get over our feelings and sort of focus on what we can do. So the fundamental thing comes down to one of two things. If you want to make it in this bull run, let's just let's put aside sort of your crypto investments, whether you have some or not. But the reality is you have to have one of these two things. You either have money, you have time, or you have both. If you have neither, I'll be honest with you, none of this is going to be worth your time. You might as well close the video and sort of look for something else as another opportunity. You've got to figure out which one it is. And by the way, all of these are sliding scales. So money is at $100, $1,000. Are you like a whale? Are you like a mini whale? Are you just somebody who can, stake with validators? That's what money comes into. Maybe you have like no money, but you got all the time in the world. You've gotten like a gig where like you got like maybe 8 to 10 hours a day, or maybe you can spend 20 hours a week in crypto. Then you got to leverage your time to sort of make up for that gap in money. Now, those who have both, well, best of both worlds, you can take advantage of everything as much as you'd like to capitalize. So that's sort of like where I want to sort of ground you guys. Now, here is what I like to call the low money, high time strategy. So, and by the way, guys, please hit the like button, because I made all these slides over the last hour or so just to sort of help sort of guide this video, because it was commonly requested. So the first thing I would say here is testnet farming. So I've sort of compared them on different axes to sort of talk about what are the things you can do. So testnet farms, they're very easy to scale. And the reason for that is there's no capital required, right? All you need to do is have different wallet addresses. They're speculative sometimes. Sometimes the testnet will let you know if they are going to incentivize. Now, they don't say it sometimes so boldly. There are some that have told you, or have told me at least, or I've seen them talk in public, that they are going to offer some token allocation to early users. That's a huge, green flag. This is green a flag as you can get. There are others who like, you can do this until a certain time. And a lot of times, people will realize, well, maybe I'll get an airdrop. So you've got to really decide based on what they tell you, which ones you really want to scale. And they're also somewhat time intensive. There are some testnets that I'm going to show you one, for example, where you've only got to do it once, or, you've only got to do it up to a certain point. And then there are others where they're like, well, you've got to go and do the activity every so often. The idea here is you want transaction volume, you want to climb the leaderboard, whatever it may be. There are also community campaigns. The challenge here is a lot of them sort of build on each other. So if you miss one in the cascade, you may not qualify to do the next one. A common example is Galaxy. And Galaxy and a few others, they typically give you NFTs or roles. The NFTs typically sell on the secondary market for a pretty penny. The Chroma NFT sold for $170. The Orbiter Finance Pilot, the top Pilot NFT, sells for $1,300, and it stopped in December. Like, yes, there were some things you had to do in this case. Some of these community campaigns, they will ask you to do certain activities, sometimes on the main net, and when that happens, you've got to use some capital. But is significantly less than what you would in some of these other protocols where you have to like bridge over an ETH, or you have to like, like kind of like what Manta was, right? Those are more whale campaigns. Community campaigns are like, can you follow this on Twitter, join this Discord, send this transaction, mint this like test NFT for like, 5 cents. It really depends, and you've really got to take a look at that. I'm going to show you guys some example platforms in a little bit. And then the third option is to whitelist mint NFTs. I should have wrote NFTs there, but it's whitelist mint NFTs. And the reason I say this is there are so many projects going on right now. And if you're able to win a whitelist, the whitelist campaigns are typically very much the same. They typically involve some sort of Discord activity or some sort of, promotion or a meme contest or whatever. And they're very they're very, like, how to put this? Sometimes they can be time intensive because you've got to do your research, but they're not time intensive in the fact of it may take you 5 minutes. I won 2 whitelists for the Yaka Voyager NFT, and that thing cost $60, and the NFT sold after I minted it for like $800. In fact, people were selling their whitelist code for like $500. So that should just tell you, like, you can just win these whitelists and sell them to other people. So if you go to Discords, if you jump into all of the Discords, try to grab as many whitelists as you can. Don't try to allocate your wallet address until you get to the end, because maybe you can flip just a whitelist so you don't even have to mint. And the beauty about whitelists, unless they're like super, super competitive, like the one with Yaka, where it literally minted out in 2 minutes in the whitelist, and a few people didn't even get it who had whitelist codes. So this is why I say, like, you can also track if you think this is going to have the momentum, right? Typically NFTs, if they mint out very fast, they're going to skyrocket on the secondary market. Even if you have a whitelist and for some NFT and half the whitelist people don't even show up, well, you can sort of measure sort of sentiment, and you can almost like decide maybe you don't mint this even though you got the whitelist. So that's another option. The next thing I would say here is it's very important. If you don't have money, make sure every single day you have zero excuse, claim every single faucet that you can. So this is an example here of the Sefolia faucet. There's a Gorley faucet. You can look all these up. There's the injective faucet. There are faucets for pretty much every testnet. And I'm going to explain why I'm telling you this is a good idea. Number one, some faucets are very cheap. They don't give you many tokens. I think of the Say faucet. The Say faucet gives you 5 Say tokens a day, and you have to wait 24 hours. And there's a lot of testnet activity on the Say platform. Well, how are you going to do that if you don't have the tokens? In fact, you can actually go to places, on Discords where people will actually pay you for some of this faucet gas testnet tokens. Now, they don't pay you significant amounts, but I even heard of an example where a developer needed either, I think it was Gorley or Sefolia gas, and they needed a ton of it, and they just couldn't get enough through the faucet, right? Because it's time limited and all of that. Well, they ended up paying somebody actual dollars for it, and they paid him a significant amount. So, this is something that I would not sleep on. You have literally nothing to lose. In fact, this also helps you with all your testnet activity, especially if you're scaling wallets. You want to have this stuff out there, okay? And then finally, the thing I would say here is branching to other chains is so important. Every idiot knows how to use Solana and Phantom. Every idiot knows how to use MetaMask and the EVM chains. And pretty much everyone now knows how to use Kepler and IBC. So if you're sitting there and you're using the chains that everybody else is using, you're going to be fighting in a way bigger pool, right? Like you want to take the fight. Remember, this is a PvP battle. Everything in crypto is, right? What you got to do is, how can I get a competitive edge? The way you get a competitive edge is maybe you go see what's popping on Sui, what's popping on Aptos, right? Even what's popping in Say. Even though Say is kind of IBC, it uses a different wallet, right? Maybe you go to Stacks, right? Bitcoin Stacks, which is on Lether. Everything you do as you branch out away from Ethereum, all the whales, their liquidity are in the bigger chains because they don't want to bridge, they don't want to move stuff around that much. So they keep that stuff centralized here. Like, we talk about decentralization, but a lot of the liquidity, where it is. It's sitting in Ethereum, right? A lot of it's sitting in Solana. A lot of it is now sitting in some of the IBC chains as well. So if you're able to branch out, you may not be a big fish in Solana, but you could be a big fish in Stacks, or you can be a big fish somewhere else. Look for that competitive edge. Go farm where people aren't farming. Now, I'm not saying you can't farm in the local spots that everyone knows are like tested, tried, and true, but you're not going to, like, let's just be real here. You're just not going to be able to compete at the same level. So if you really want to make it, right, we got a ton of time, but you really got to capitalize on it. So that's really my 5 things. The one thing else I would say here is make sure, if you can, find people that have the same common interests as you in crypto. It will help, especially if these are people you know in person. I find it hard because a lot of my friends aren't really that into crypto anymore. They were the last cycle, and then some have basically said, it's just too much time and they really don't want to commit to it. And that's sort of why, like, I have more online friends who care about crypto than real life friends, which I'm sure, like, I was at a poker game yesterday and people were like, wow, that Avalanche token, you put all my stuff in at like 12 or 13 bucks, it went to 50. I'm like, yeah, I know. And I texted them all saying sell, and no one ever listens, of course, or like maybe went to 48. But anyways, the whole point here is you want to find a group of people who have common interests with you, because then it becomes so much easier for you guys to divide and conquer, right? When you have 4 or 5 people all sort of having their eyes out, you can be way more on top of everything going on than if you're just one person. And that's actually sort of I don't want to say it's the only purpose, but it's also one of the reasons why I really like the Web3 Secret Society. There are times where people come in there and they will post stuff that either, like, for example, I didn't see yet because I'm at work, or, for example, I wasn't even aware of. And a lot of the alpha sharing is huge. A lot of people can bring each other up. So, whether it's this group here or you have your own group, that's very important. The other thing I would say here is also don't waste your time. Here's an example of somebody, by the way, I do not follow them, but for some reason, literally every single hour or day, one of their posts come up. And this is an example of, I don't mean to pick on Ardizer. It is what it is, right? They're engagement farming. But him and so many others will post a thread just like this. Hey, all it costs you is $3 to $5 and you can make $10,000 plus in 20 minutes. And it's a complete lie. So what they'll tell you to do is the most basic things, like, can you stake like 5 cents in like a, Marine to Finance? Can you like use MarginFi and deposit like MSOL and borrow SSOL for like, 30 cents? Like, this is a joke. The reality is none of these all these protocols have people depositing, hundreds of dollars, and they want you to put in pennies. And the reality is, it's what I always said. Look how many how many tweets are in this thread. Yeah, make sure to bookmark this thread. And look, they wouldn't do this if it didn't work. 2,600 people bookmarked this thread. And the reason for that, and by the way, every time someone bookmarks this thread and likes it and does all this stuff, it sends it to more people, which is why I don't even follow this person, but I keep seeing their stuff. And the reality is, it's because people are just getting fooled by thinking that all this is the right way to do it. No one is making money this way, right? Like, just because Jito gave people money for like something small, protocols have like that. That's what happens at the start. After the fact, you will not get it this way. So I actually find a lot of this very disingenuous, and they try to basically make this a sort of bait and switch. Look how many things they want you to do here. They want you to do all of these things. Like I'm continuing to scroll down, and by doing all of this, like, that's how they get you to bookmark it. Like I said, you've got to be very critical with your time. Don't waste your time looking at stuff like this. This is the easiest flag. Like, if you see something like this, hey, it costs you nothing. You can do it in a very small time, and you can take something and 1,000 extra money, 5,000 extra money. Well, it is too good to be true. This person, like, there's no way they think this is real. If they thought this was real, they would literally shut their mouth about it, not have it diluted, and literally go and make 100 wallets. There's no way. Well, what are they? The most generous person in the world? You know what I mean? Now, here's what I will say though. For every project that you join, I want you to do the following 3 things. The first thing I want you to do, if they have a Discord, join it. It's very important because you will get all their updates as soon as they happen. The second thing is to follow them on X or Twitter. The reason is sometimes they don't have Discord, but they have Twitter. And sometimes, like there's mods and stuff. I've been on Discords that have gotten compromised, and their Twitter, like this is sort of your backup check, right? What does their Twitter say? Like their Twitter can say, oh, our Discord's compromised, or vice versa. So you really want to like just make sure you kind of have that up to date. Having this is great. You have nothing to lose. In fact, a lot of the community campaigns, they will require you to join the Discord, have a sort of verified role. And sometimes we saw this with Sui, like I said, I'm not going to tell you it's going to happen, but hey, it's a nice bonus if they ever decide to reward any sort of early Discord users. Now, finally, I would always recommend you keep your own log. This thing, I know a lot of people who do this, but make sure you write down what activity you're doing on what protocols, what testnets, what's the last time you did it, if there any action for you, like do you have to withdraw something by a certain date, or like, for example, I put in here, like this is just, one example. Let me just zoom in so you guys can see it. You can see here, this is for like Celestia. I have all this stuff on the bottom, but Celestia Stride Zone, I staked 143 ST TIA. I staked like 5.1 TIA for Milk TIA on this. Here's how much I put for Manta Network because it was related to Celestia. But I do this for pretty much all of the chains. So it's sort of very important that you have this sort of track. Like I'll just show you here. Like for example, here's like my testnet faucets. So I have all of them linked over here. The links, it tells me like where to go. The log is very important. Keep this in mind so you have like an idea of what you got to do. Okay. Now, let's talk about testnets. Now, unfortunately, if you did watch my video from yesterday, I talked about a couple testnets that I would do. Heroes of Mavia actually this morning made an announcement saying that their download and sync airdrop is now filled. They got the 100K participants, and you get like 12.5 Mavia tokens just for doing that. I know a bunch of people who messaged me and said, hey, I did this on multiple accounts. I got my family all to do it, download the thing, download the app on their phone. I don't ever download this stuff on my computer. Just, even though I trust, like Mavia is like, Heroes of Mavia is very well known, still won't do it. I don't want to slow things down. Well, the token is actually like 80 cents launching on February 6th, which is when I'll claim it. And what's nice is they're launching on centralized exchanges, which is probably like one of the best ways to get a ton of volume into a token. So that's one, but the other 5 are still up. There's way more, by the way. I'm not going to spend time going to every testnet, but I have done video guides on every single one of these. Aeroscraper, Metis, DOP, Barachain, Yaka. You can literally find them in the link of the description below. What I will say for Aeroscraper is they have a version 1 and a version 2. Let me just sort of connect this here. So you may want to do both. You may want to go to version 1 and sort of do the activities there, and then version 2 and do the activities there as well. For Metis, as you know, this is probably one of the most frustrating testnets. You can do all the activities here, and then you can do more swaps because your goal here is to get as much XP as possible beyond just completing the season 1 tasks, which is below. Season 2 will start some point soon, so you don't have all day. Then the DOP testnet, you can literally go in here to the testnet activity. They mentioned on Twitter that this will be ending very, very soon, so get on it. Finally, Barachain, another sort of mini annoying one. Their faucet kind of broke for a little bit. I think it's up. I would recommend doing this. Remember, the guide to everything I've linked in the description below. And finally, Yaka Finance. This one, literally, the mod told me that they are giving part of their token allocation in their TGE for those who do the airdrop activity over here. And right now, the most number of points you can get is 410. You do it by following these instructions. This is not accurate. It's actually 6 specific pools and for both. So you have to go do the swaps and then do the liquidity for all 6 up here. Okay. The next thing I want to talk about is campaign sites. So campaign sites, I mentioned Galaxy before, but there's Zeely, Intract, Layer 3. There are a bunch more. What you want to do is just make sure if your project, the ones you're looking at, and any of them have a campaign, that you do it. Now, be very wary. I can't confirm this, but I have seen a Zeely campaign for one of the projects, And it looked all sketchy because it was asking me to connect to some weird site, and I just didn't do it because I'm like, forget it. But usually the project will actually have it listed, or you can ask sort of people in the project. So that's probably what I would do. If you don't see the link coming from that project in their Discord or anything, ask one of the mods if it's legit or tied to the campaign. That'll help you decide if you should do it or not. But these are probably the four most popular ones. Galaxy and Zeely are probably the top two. Galaxy is the one I have made the most money off because it gives a bunch of cool NFTs and everything else like that. So make sure you check that out. I have links to all that in the description below as well. So here's Galaxy. You can see here there's a bunch of different campaigns going on. March of the Barris, which is sort of just going to the faucet. But they had like their onboarding for March of the Barris part 1, which requires you to get like the Barra Cub roll and everything else like that. So you do a bunch of these activities, which while doing so gets you the on-chain activity you need anyways. There's also Zeely, which, I like Orderly Network. That's another thing you guys should look into, but you can do that for a ton of your other campaigns. So like you can get on the leaderboards, you can get quests done. Some projects will look at the number of points you have on their doing their quests, and that will maybe get you an incentive or some sort of token allocation. Now, the last part I would say here is the high money, low time strategy. If you've got a ton of money, or liquidity, and you got low time, or maybe you've gotten decent amount of money, low time, then I would focus more on you do the airdrop farming that we always do, but then you look at yield farms. So a yield farm would be something like Dojo, like Dojo Swap, where you can put your funds in either the INJ USDT. You can look at Dojo INJ here. Other things you could also do is, for example, go to their launchpad. So every so often they do an IDO over here, and you can sort of deposit a bunch of money. A lot of people do this. All of these seem to oversell. The last one by over 700%, which tells you that you'll be able to flip this for a much better deal after. So that's something to look into. I got into the Dojo IDO, and it was very profitable. So that's another thing you could do. Going back here, like if you look at sort of stake drops, stake drops could be something like Eigenlayer, because Eigenlayer requires you to deposit a bunch of capital. So you sort of stake that into a platform like Swell Network, like I showed yesterday, or Letify, or where is this? I think Ethify is one of them too. But you can stake in a bunch of these pools, then you restake it here, and they sort of get you extra qualifications. A lot of this stuff will require extra funds, which is why it's not appropriate for those who have very, very small portfolios, right? Another example is Stride. So Stride, when we deposited some STTIA during the week, and when we did that, the more you staked, the more you got, right? It's a very linear equation. In fact, right now, so far I've earned 57.46 Stride tokens. I think the Stride token's worth around $4. So it's not bad. Obviously, there's a 6-month cliff, but hey, it's not that bad, but it does require capital once again. Finally, another thing you could be looking at is staking with validators, right? So if you're on IBC, especially, you stake Injective, you stake Atom, you stake Celestia. And when you do that, one, you qualify for airdrop. Some of them are tier-based, which is nicer, but the other ones are potentially just, hey, how much did you stake? We'll give you X amount for that. So Prism is an example where they even call it a stake drop. They give you some Prism token equivalent to how much Atom you are staking with them. Same thing with Black Panther. They are doing a specific campaign just like that. There are others where, it's not the validator itself, but I'll give you an example with Dimension token. If you even staked one Celestia token, you got 205 Dimension tokens. I believe their estimated price is between $4 to $5 when it launches, but still, that's pretty incredible. So it's hit or miss with validators, which is why I'd say, like, I'm going to make a video on how to prioritize, but I would say this is probably kind of in the mid tier versus just being for people who have a lot of money. The last thing I would do also is, if you are good at trading NFTs, it's probably one of the best uses of your money to go into these platforms. Find people who are not valuing the NFTs appropriately, going in there, buying them, and flipping them. And especially I show Tensor here because Tensor is likely about to have a massive airdrop. It's probably the last thing on Solana that hasn't had a massive airdrop because this is their top NFT marketplace. And we saw what happened with Blur in Ethereum. So we can see something ridiculous happening here too. So that was a lot that I talked about in half an hour. I can't believe it. My mouth is somewhat dry, but I want to open it up for questions for you guys. I do apologize earlier because I was shooting a video and the real estate agent, we were doing a showing at my place and they came in like 24 minutes early. I heard the door open. I'm like, okay, I got to cut this really fast. 10 seconds after I cut the video, they walked through that door. That would have been awkward. So that being said, I'm going to open it up and see what's going on in the comments and questions, what people have thoughts of. Will the bull run cure my crippling self-isolation habits? Well, what I think will happen, by the way, I love the Manchester United logo here, but I think a lot of people will be making life-changing sums of money. And why would you want to self-isolate after that? You're going to be out in the town spending your money, right? The whole point of this bull market is to amplify your money, and then during the bear market you want to go enjoy yourself. And that's sort of been my approach to this whole thing. I think when people ask me, oh, why aren't you spending so much more money now? I'm like, because now my money goes way further. M says Black Panther have a history of broken promises. Yeah, no, I completely agree. This is something that I'm also concerned about. I'm waiting for them to give a little more clarity on their announcement. Their announcement was absolutely disgusting. What I will say to you guys, and I'm being very transparent here, as of recently, I think I mentioned to you guys that I was going to rethink my staking strategy. So in the private group, I told the private group a couple days ago that I was unstaking all of my Osmo and all of my stars. And the reason for that is the Osmo airdrops this cycle have been terrible. Like I got Wasmo, it was like $2. I got sale token. Once again, it was like a few dollars. Just wasn't worth my time. And I'd rather have that liquidity in Celestia. Probably going to be in Milk Tia, likely. And I'm going to explain why I'm going down that approach in a bit. But it's just because like the Celestia airdrops seem to be tiered. If that's the case, because if they've done 3 so far and they've all been tiered, they may have had lower kind of entry threshold, but every one of them has been tiered. So if that's the case, I want to have as much TIA as possible. It's also the one that is the most cross-chain compatible. Injective, on the other hand, is just to be like a financial sort of staking protocol, where Celestia is really the tech that a lot of these new chains will incorporate. Thinking about unstaking my BP, only have 10 injective with them anyway. Yeah, so if you haven't done that already, what you could consider doing is redelegating, right? Because if you hit the redelegate button, you don't have to do the unbonding. Unless you've done a redelegation in the last 21 days, then you'd have to wait. I was the first to hit the like button. Doesn't take much effort. Hey, I really appreciate that. Thank you. Hey, Sassy, how's it going? Brady Proctor says, could you expand on Black Panther and if it's worth redelegating to 150 plus injective to another validator and which one you would recommend? Okay, yeah, so let me just open up their announcement and I will basically explain what I didn't like about it. I thought it was pretty shitty, to be honest. So we're gonna get there in a second. And they said they were super thrilled to announce exactly what's going on. So let's do it right here. Okay. So now we have this open. Let's see, you guys can see it. All right, cool. So 100,000 ninjas on injective are eligible for this claim drop. We've already taken a snapshot of the stakers. There's a second snapshot. And they're basically saying the average amount of injective stake for the first and second snapshot will be used to determine your claim drop allocation with a sort of, let's make a deal kind of thing. Well, this is actually pretty grimy. The reason I say this is, number one, they don't tell you exactly what you've gotten. If they've done the first snapshot, they need to be open on what that looks like, right? So they basically have to say, okay, here's what you get. Like a lot of other protocols are very clear. Here's what you've earned so far. The reason they don't do this is because they realize if people see what they're not going to get, they're going to get out earlier. And they're also trying to instill a bit of fear in people by saying you're going to miss out if you don't hold till February 29th, because at that point, we're taking the second snapshot. So we're just going to like sort of do the average. So if you have 100 injective today and you have 0 injective tomorrow, well, you get 50. Doesn't matter how much you had in the first snapshot. And they say all this despite people putting them up to first place, which makes it so weird that they did a first snapshot like probably like in the last 2, let's be honest, they probably did it Thursday or Friday. They like they were dragging their feet on this. You know what I mean? So it's hard to say like what to do because it's real, like we're not clear on the others. What I will say is Prism did announce theirs. So let's go to Prism. Prism announced their injective validator. I don't believe it's live yet. I know that they were working on that. And by doing that, let's see if I can find the actual thing here. Airdrop, snapshot, blah, 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 blah. Oh, so basically, I guess they are live now. Is this the right one? I always get sketched out. So you always put your mouse over, make sure you're following. But basically, I think what happened was a lot of people sort of staked to them early on when they're inactive, and now they'll be active. So let's go over here. Let's go to injective and let's see if they are active, because if they're active, I'd say they're just a better choice. No, they're not active yet. So once they get active as a validator, then I would recommend them. Until then, I would sort of stand pat and see what happens with Black Panther. I need more whale airdrops. Yeah, exactly. You know what I'll say? This is where Celestia comes in. Of all the chains I've seen here so far, and you know the others may be lagging, Celestia is the one with the most adoptable tech across more than just IBC chains. And the fact that we got like Manta, like rewarding people who bridge Celestia, we got Alt Layer sort of supporting people who got Celestia through like different tiers. We got Dimension doing the same thing, and we got Saga doing the same thing, right? They're all tiering it. So for me, it was very clear. I'm collapsing everything else on IBC. Right? Sorry. The other thing I got rid of was Kajira. Kajira is the other one I got rid of. And by doing that, it makes it very clear, hey, like, let's just focus on Celestia. And even Injective, I'm probably going to keep Injective somewhat pat and just go much harder in Celestia, because Celestia is where, like, the adoption is. And I think that token is going to keep going up. Where I would alter this is we're getting to a point where the allocations in STTIA are getting way too high. If you guys remember, DeFi Llama will actually show you the allocation of the of every single TVL token over there. So all you got to do is check out how it's going. And every time I check this, the amount of Celestia tokens goes up. It's currently sitting at $25 million. It was, I believe, 12 million by the time the second snapshot, or 13 million the time of the second day snapshot. It was 18 million yesterday. It's 25 million today. But it was actually 22 or 23 million at the time of the snapshot. As this keeps going up, the sort of return on this is not that great. I will sort of process a withdrawal, but I will switch all of this to Milk Tia. And the reason I would go to Milk Tia is because Milk Tia would get me all the benefits of the airdrop while not being stuck in a validator, which is incredible, right? So Milk Tia, actually, once this is done, allows you to earn airdrops through Demex Exchange, through Quasar Finance, and you can sort of liquidate it at any time, and you still qualify for all the airdrops because of the way that Milky Way Zone has set it up. You literally can't ask for anything better. I'm just waiting for this to not be worth it. Once this number, the today number, gets way too small, maybe 2 or 3, I'm out of here for that one. We got Brendan Shaw in the house. He's a member of the Web3 Society. How's it going, Brendan? Oh, yeah, perfect. Web3 Society is awesome. Yeah, let's go. The swap function on Say says swap 4 specific swaps, but does not check off the box. Yeah, you got to do 6. That's what I was saying earlier. They adjusted it to add more tokens. Swap with every single token that they have on there. Once you do that, you'll be fine. You just have to interact with that token. Same thing on the pool side. Do both of those, and you'll check off the box, and you'll get the 410 number. That's the capacity for now. Is there an entry fee to joining our Discord group? Yeah. So it is a monthly fee, and here's why. I used to run a free public Discord. I did it for 2 years, and number one, people didn't value it. I got a ton of people coming in and scamming people and everything else like that. I also got a bunch of people who came in there very vocal and were very disruptive. I don't want to have any of that. It's like, I literally want a community. In fact, one of the things I was going to post to the group is, at what point do we cap this? Because like I said, the goal here is not to, for example, like to make a bunch of money. In fact, like, I think I lose like 30 to 40% on YouTube, whatever. It just makes it easier to do the whole thing. But what I want is to have a tight knit community that's respectful, that shares stuff with each other, and can have that community. Once it scales really big, it becomes literally impossible to keep this from turning into one of those like Telegram groups where people just come in there and shitpost. That is not the intention of this. What's the point, right? Yeah, there's a entry fee. It's monthly, and I'm looking at seeing like at what point do we cap it. We're not capping it yet, but I'm just saying. Great advice. Thanks. I choose not to jump on every airdrop, only to those which are easy to farm. Exactly. So everyone should have their own. Like, this is what I love about this. What Junino is saying here, and I completely agree, is you've got to prioritize airdrops. People always message me and go, "Hey, have you tried this one?" I'm like, if I tried every airdrop that was out there, I would already have less of a life than I already do. What I would tell people is, make sure you're sitting here and going, okay, what's my ROI? What's the probability? How diluted is this? And like, is this going to be challenging for me? Right? Look at that. Like, some airdrops don't require you to come back, or sorry, some testnets don't require you to come back like every week or something. By the way, I say all this. The number one airdrop or number two airdrops I think you guys should focus on for this year is ZK Sync. I think ZK Sync is probably the best airdrop that you could potentially farm. I think a lot of people have sort of forgotten about it because everybody wants to do all the, immediate things. But like, it's like the big one. You know what I mean? Like that's the one that like is going to like make people's year. In fact, I'm going to share this with you guys, and I think this is cool. Do not use the service that's listed here, but this is a website that shows me my airdrop rank. So I'm currently in the top 2% and better than, 4.8 million or 4.9 million wallets, right? So top 2%, that's a good spot to be. Typically for airdrops, you want to be in the top 30%, right? That's why it's very important. Maybe I'll open another site up here. Just give me 1 second. I could open up this site. I think it's going to be huge for you guys. Where's Celestia? Sorry. Because what you want to know is how much people are actually staking or putting into protocols, because this will help you make informed decisions on, what exactly do you do? You know what I mean? Let me just see if I can grab this stuff. This stuff never works when I want it to. Whatever. I'll let this load. If it loads, great. If not, so be it. Yeah. Gotta find this. Sorry, guys. I'm just loading this thing and taking a look very quickly. If it loads, I think it'll add a ton of value to you guys. Anyways. While that's going, we'll just go back to this and sort of answer some of the questions, okay? So airdrop farming is very important. I think, you want to focus on especially the highest ROI ones, okay? It's a monthly fee. Thank you. Great content. Thank you. How do you farm the potential tens or airdrop? So with NFT platforms, it's usually a couple things. One, they may look at like trending collections and like, did you ever interact or own one of the trending NFTs that are verified, right? All of these ones have, quote, verified collection NFTs. Did you ever hold one, or do you hold one at the time of the snapshot? That's one thing. The best way to do it, though, is just to buy and sell. So Tender makes money from people buying and selling NFTs, right? That's just what it is. So because every time somebody buys it, then somebody is selling the NFT and they get a piece, right? That's how OpenSea, that's how Blur does it. So the more you contribute to that, the more of an airdrop you get. Sometimes, you don't know how tenders will look like, but sometimes it's a yes or a no. Did you do it? and then it doesn't matter how much volume we got. Or so like they all are very different. But if you are able to flip NFTs, then it's great. I recognize there are some people who this would not be great for. You buy the wrong NFT and you waste money. If you're not good at this stuff, don't do it. That's just the honest truth. Like you've got to really know your stuff. Ali, how do I join the private group? We have the it's called the join button down below, and I think it should be on the video actually. Alvi says, did you participate in the Jupe airdrop? I did. So I wasn't qualified because I didn't touch Solana, or I didn't touch Jupiter and Solana I think the snapshot was early November. I got the when airdrop because I had a bunch of wallets that collected Solana after, but that was a few weeks prior to the airdrop. My JUP price prediction, I think right now the JUP price is dropping 53 cents. I think long term it'll do good, but it's a governance token. They don't pay any yield. So for example, some tokens, when you grab them, they make money off fees, right? People using the platform and everything, and those fees are sort of paid back to the holders of the token. The JUP token is just a governance token, but it is probably the number one protocol in Solana right now. So I do expect for this token to go up. I believe it's 53 cents, like I said. You can't it's hard to make price predictions because of one thing. I can say all the things in the world I want, but if something happens to Bitcoin or Ethereum or Solana in the short term, it'll go down regardless of how good the fundamentals are. I think where it is right now is probably a little undervalued. I think it'll probably get to at least 80 cents. But not financial advice. I can't really tell you, right? You want to look at where it is and what market cap you think it'll be. But you're real. How to put this? In reality, what you've got to ask yourself, and this is sort of what I always ask myself: where do I think Bitcoin and Ethereum are going to go? My price target for Ethereum is around 12 to 15,000 US by the end of the bull cycle. That being said, that's a 6 to 7x on Ethereum's price. So for me to want to invest in something else that's a little more risky, I need to be getting a way better return than 6 to 7x, right? So that's why for meme coins, the ones I go for, I want to have 20 to 50x. The alts that are outside Ethereum, I want a 15x. That's sort of my approach. So I hope that makes sense. Why are the Stride tokens showing up in my Leap wallet but do not in my Kepler wallet? I'm not sure, but either way, the Stride tokens they're not redeemable for 6 months anyway. So I'm not sure why they're showing up in Ether, to be honest. I made 5 wallets with TIA, 10 TIA, and 1 with 2. It is annoying, but I think I'm going to unstake all the 10 TIA wallets and have 1 wallet with 50 TIA in it. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Hopefully that means you got the Dimension airdrop by doing that. One of the things, I don't know if it'll matter if you only have 1 wallet going forward, but if you're combining all the wallets into one, you may get flagged as a Cybele. So just be very careful. One of your options, extra work. And by the way, I'm not exactly sure if you would get penalized for this because, you're not really farming on any other wallets at that point, is maybe sending all of it back to one centralized wallet, send it to a centralized exchange, right? And then send it back to a new wallet with that and trade it back to TIA. That's the other option. But also, the one that you're going to have 50 TIA in it, consider having that in Milk TIA. Because Milk TIA, as far as we know, you will receive all the airdrops from all the validators. So if that's the case, it makes no difference whether it's staked or not. In fact, this liquid staking Milk TIA is way more beneficial because you can swap the Milk TIA to regular TIA or anything else on the market. You pay a 2% fee or something, which is way better than having to 100% of the time wait 21 days. But yeah, no, I completely agree. I did the same thing. I closed down all my TIA wallets as well. All the ones with 20 something TIA in them, they're all gone. I'm literally going to have a few wallets now with at least 100 TIA, and I'm not even sure if I'm going to do that. I might just put them all in one wallet and try to get max tier on these airdrops. Hey Charles, how are you doing? Rakesh asks, can you share more info on the Eigenlayer airdrop? I have 0.5 ETH only to stake. Will Swell airdrop be too soon for me, as I might accumulate very well less Swell points? Well, here's the thing. if you're gonna do it anyways, you might as well take the free money. Do you get what I'm saying? So if you do 0.5 ETH, you'd get 15 pearls, is what they're called, for just getting 0.5 ETH into Swell ETH, and then you will get, I think it is, yeah, I think you get the same thing. You get 15, which is half again of when you deposit that into the Eigenlayer on February 5th, tomorrow, right, at 5 p.m. Eastern. Once you do that, you'll get another 15 pearls. Then if you refer people, you'll get more, and you get more as well as you hold it over time. So it's better late than never, in my opinion. I think, remember, Eigenlayer, it's just a 7-day lockup. So you need 7 days to unlock your Eigenlayer withdrawal. And then in mid-February, Swell Network will enable their withdrawals for converting Swell Ethereum or restake Swell Ethereum into ETH. Hope that makes sense. In the interim, if you want to sort of swap it anyways, you can go to like 1inch, which is another DEX, and 1inch can actually swap your SW ETH for ETH. Okay. When do you plan on withdrawing from Stride? Also, is there a withdraw time? Yeah, so the withdraw time, okay, so we'll answer 2 questions here. The withdraw time is 21 days plus up to 3 more days depending on when you withdrew it, because they're batching the withdrawals because they're only allowed 7 per month. That's why they're doing it that way. And then when I'm planning on withdrawing from Stride, it really depends on how diluted this gets. Likely, so I did a calculation for those of you in the Web3 Society. I put together a formula which basically tells you how much Stride token you're going to get every single day based on the liquidity. So you just plug and play. We've tried it. It works out. Bang, right? So for me, likely when this number becomes 50 in DeFi Llama, if I can find this thing, where did I put it? 50. Can't find it. But anyways, I would wait till the sort of thing gets to 50 for TVL, and that will help me. That will help me get there. That will help me sort of figure this out. So right now, I believe it's at 25 or 24. I think once that stuff is done, then we can move on it. Let me see this here. So one of the other things I'm trying to do right now, I'm going to show you this website. So this is Smart Stake Analytics. What it does is it tells you, like, for example, here, the staker distribution of TIA. I'm going to find a way to break this down. I think there's a chart here anyways. But basically what I want to see is what percentage would I be in the top percentage of TIA stakers, right? You can see here that about 32%, 33% have at least less than 10 TIA in their wallets. Then below 100, you have another 57. So 101 TIA is like literally puts you in the top, I don't know, 11%. Like you have over 100 TIA, you're in the top 11% of Celestia stakers. You would literally be tiered so much higher than everybody else. Obviously, this is something that constantly moves, so you have to track it. But these are the kind of information and insights that will really help you get ahead of the game and also help you sort of figure out your strategy, if that makes sense. I am unable to do DOP testnet as claims Sepolia ETH is not working. Yeah, so what you can do is, and by the way, remember what I said about every single day doing your testnet activities? This is why. Let me see if I can claim Sepolia testnet right now. Let's try it. It worked for me. Here, I'm going to put this website in here. By the way, this is why I always say, do not let your kind of rate limiting step be access to Gasnet or Testnet tokens. I put the link, Rakesh, in the chat. If you want to check it out. I also have it in the description below, actually. What am I doing? Okay, Charles, got the pool done, not swap, though. Charles, what are you referring to? Sorry. Do you think staking stay is worth it? It's hard to tell. I consider stay to be very different than the IBC because I have it on Compass. I've got, I'll be honest with you, like, it's almost like 20x more stay token unstaked than I do staked. And the reason for this is because there's going to be a lot of protocol activity, and I want to be a mini whale over there. And I also want to be able to grab their NFTs when I deem necessary. So if there's any NFT opportunities, I'll get there. Charles, how much is the membership? It's $25 a month. Can you go there organically to let us see how you get there? I'm sorry. Oh, the airdrop tracker. Okay, here, let me get you the link to it. So here's the thing. One thing I'll be honest with you guys about is please, 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 please do not like the reason I didn't want to give this website is I did not want to give you guys this link to this bot thing. They're trying to sell a service to make people like give them their private key, enter their MetaMask, and they will farm all the airdrops for you. They charge like, I don't know, $800. I don't know if you can trust these sites and everything else like that. Maybe you do with smaller wallets. I'm not affiliated with them. That's why I did like I do not like putting links on stuff, but like I like this tracker. And that's the reason I gave this to you guys. I'm gonna sort of go back. Let me just let me get a link that's not with this on here, and let's do layer 0. So here, I put the link there. And after this video, I'll put the link to this in the bottom. Okay, so you can put your wallet address, and you can go to checkers here and literally check any of these. You can even do a Cybele test, which is like a quiz on your likelihood of getting flagged as a Cybele, which is not good. Cool. Is Linea or Scroll a good farm target? Yeah, I think so. Like I said, I have a video on Scroll as well. Once again, it's a little time dependent. Let's see how I'm doing for Scroll while we're on the topic. Let's see. Anyway, so yeah, I did a guide on how you can get, how you can farm the Scroll network. And, I remember when I was first looking into the Scroll, there were so many stupid guides on it. And that's why I found they were doing the most. So that's why I wanted to make a very simplified one. You can find it on the channel. All this thing's loading, we'll keep going. Do you wait for the Starknet airdrop? What do you mean, sorry? Like if it happens, it'll happen, right? Okay, cool. Oh wow. For Scroll, I'm like 4-digit user. So I am the top 0.25% of users. Number 3,391, right? Where I could do better is top like 3 months. I'm probably going to like get an interaction this month and get this number up even higher. But it's like literally no competition on a lot of these airdrops because people don't want to spend the time, right? And there's a very easy way to do these things too. So that's what I've sort of focused on. Guys, this has been a 60-minute video. I'm sure someone's going to complain after the fact saying, I can't watch this video, it's too long. Well, sucks to be them. I hope you got value out of this video. Please, if you haven't already, hit the like button. Share this video because these videos typically don't do well with the YouTube algorithm, which is also why I don't do these videos very often. But I know you guys wanted this information and I wanted to help you guys out. So please, if you've watched this video and you don't fully understand it, watch this video again. It's so critical you understand what you've got to do in the literal next, 6 to 18 months, because we have an amazing opportunity ahead of us to make life-changing sums of money, and you've got to leverage either the time you have at your disposal or the money you have to throw into protocols. Remember, you always got to be safe, right? Everything else I said here assumes you are exercising proper safety. So if you're connecting to a ton of testnets, do not connect with your bank wallet. Do not connect with your major liquidity wallet. You can create another wallet to do these things, right? That's good practices. Also, don't just click random links that people send you. I mean, tons of safety stuff. Let's not I don't want to get into it, but just be safe. Make sure you go from a trusted source. Go from the official website. Do not take it from somebody posting on Twitter and stuff like that. And just as we're getting to the end of it, I see Ali has made the decision to become a member of the Web3 Society. So congratulations, Ali. I'll see you in the group, and I'm going to make sure I add that private channel for you as well. Thank you, Janino. Yeah, get that likes up. We gotta help support this video, help it with the algorithm because this topic will not fly otherwise. This is not the topic people search for. Like they want to know, what do I do today to make the most? Like that's why if I say 1000x your crypto with nonsense, it's actually gonna get like so many more views than this one will. That being said, thank you guys for watching. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.